All right. Let's talk about something that I think a lot of people can relate to, especially our listeners, and that's menopause.
Mhm.
It's more than just hot flashes, right?
Yeah.
It's brain fog, mood swings, changes in libido. It's like your body is playing a game where you don't even know the rules.
Mm-hmm.
So when we came across this article on topnaturalhealth.com, it was talking about this supplement, Provestra, and it claims to do all these amazing things. We just knew we had to do a deep dive.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
But before we get too far, we always say this, but just as a reminder,
Right.
we're not saying go out and swap out your morning coffee for this stuff.
Right.
We just really want to break it all down, look at the science, and help you decide if Provestra is something worth checking out.
Exactly.
So the article pretty much positions Provestra as this natural way to boost your libido and ease, all those menopausal symptoms that we were just talking about.
Right.
They really hit hard on this whole scientifically backed, doctor-recommended angle.
Right.
And so we're going to unpack that a little
That's
later.
yours, of course.
But first, I think we need to cover the basics. What exactly are happening in our bodies during, perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause? Like, break it down.
Well, you can almost think of it like a hormonal roller coaster, right?
Okay.
Like any good ride, it has its ups and downs. And so we hear about estrogen decreasing,
Right.
which is true, but it's not the whole picture. There are also shifts in progesterone, even testosterone,
Right.
And each plays such a vital role.
Huh. So it's not just like you hit a switch and then everything changes?
No, not at all. It's
Absolutely.
it's more like an orchestra.
Okay.
Tuning up, but not always harmonizing.
Oh, I like that.
Yes. And so when these hormones are out of whack, it can create a whole symphony of symptoms.
Interesting.
People always think estrogen is just about the hot flashes, right?
Right, yeah.
But it affects your mood, it affects your sleep, even your vaginal tissues, which
Really?
then affects sensitivity and lubrication.
Okay, so it's not just all in our heads. It's like a literal chemical change
Yeah.
that's impacting, how we feel, how we sleep, even how we experience intimacy.
Exactly.
And that, I guess, is where Provestra is trying to come in, right?
Mm-hmm.
To rebalance all those hormones.
Yeah.
Because the article specifically called it a two-pronged approach.
Okay.
Stimulating hormone production
Right.
and increasing vaginal lubrication.
Right.
They're really pushing that it can boost estrogen, progesterone, testosterone.
Right. And that is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Because you're right. All of those hormones are so intricately linked to your libido, to your sexual experience.
Okay.
Testosterone, for instance. We always think of it as the male hormone.
Right.
But it's present in women, too.
Oh.
It plays a role in desire and arousal.
Wow. See, I didn't know that. So it's not just about hot flashes and night sweats.
No.
Menopause can really impact your desire, too.
Absolutely.
That's another layer of complexity.
It is. It is.
And, I guess if Provestra actually does what it claims to do
Right.
and influences these hormones like that,
Yeah.
that could be a game changer.
It could.
But, and this is a big but,
Yeah.
before we even get into whether or not this actually works, what about this claim doctor recommended?
Yeah.
Can we just take their word for it?
That's such a good question. And, it's important to remember that supplements aren't regulated the same way that pharmaceuticals are.
Right.
And while there might be a couple of studies on some supplements, this phrase, doctor recommended, doesn't really tell the full story.
Yeah.
Honestly, it tends to be a marketing tactic more than anything.
Okay, so a healthy amount of skepticism is probably a good thing when looking at all this.
Yeah.
Especially when they start listing all these ingredients.
Yeah.
Black cohosh, ginseng, Damiana leaf. Come on, it sounds like a grocery list for a magic potion.
It does. It makes you wonder, what is each ingredient bringing to the table?
Right.
But before we start mixing our own concoctions...
Please don't do that.
I know. But we should probably see what the science says about their supposed benefits.
Right, let's break it down.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're hyping up all these crazy ingredients. Like, where do we even begin?
Well, let's start with one that the article seems really excited about.
Okay.
Black cohosh.
Black cohosh, okay.
Yeah, they're really pushing it as this, miracle worker for hot flashes and night sweats. And, it's been used for generations for that very reason.
So it's grandma-approved A&D in a shiny new supplement. So that must mean it works wonders.
Well, not so fast.
Okay.
Because while there are, some smaller studies that suggest that black cohosh might have this mild estrogen-like effect.
Okay. The research is far from conclusive. Some studies show little to no benefit, And there's even been concerns about potential liver issues with prolonged use.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, so it's a miracle worker, but it might give you liver problems.
Yeah. So
This is why we do the deep dive. It's not always sunshine and roses with these supplements.
no, it's not as straightforward as we hope. Natural doesn't always equal 100% safe.
True.
And I get it. We want solutions, right?
Yeah.
Especially if those hot flashes hit at the worst possible moment.
Oh, tell me about it.
But we also need to be, realistic and informed about what these ingredients can actually do.
Okay, so black cohosh, not necessarily a magic bullet.
Right.
What about some of the other ingredients? They were talking about Damiana leaf, saying that it can boost libido.
And they made it sound like this little leaf was going to spice things up considerably.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to that?
Well, Damiana leaf definitely has an interesting history.
Okay.
It's been used in traditional medicine as an aphrodisiac.
Okay.
And some believe that it increases blood flow to the genitals, which, in theory, could enhance arousal.
Okay, there's that in theory again.
Yeah.
But what does the research actually say?
That's the thing. There really isn't a whole lot of research.
Really?
Yeah. And of the studies that do exist, let's just say the results are mixed.
So more of a maybe it works, maybe not situation. That's not really what the article was saying.
Not quite. This is something we see a lot with supplements. The marketing gets ahead of the science, and they promise you the moon and the stars. And then when you actually dig deeper, the research just isn't really there.
And it makes sense. Conducting those large-scale studies on herbal supplements, it's got to take time and money. And who knows what kind of red tape is involved in all that.
Exactly. And on top of that, everyone is different.
That's true.
It's not one size fits all.
Right.
Our bodies are complex. Genetics, lifestyle, your overall health, those are all factors that can influence how we respond to different substances.
That's a good point. I think it's easy to get caught up. You see a flashy website or a fancy bottle.
Right.
We have to remember that we're all different.
We are.
And speaking of getting caught up, the article talks about Provestra, and they give this whole timeline of effectiveness. They say some women feel a difference within 7 days.
Okay.
More significant results after 30 days, and then the full effect after 60 to 90 days.
Okay.
And then they hit us with the money-back guarantee.
Of course.
Classic. But I've got to admit, it kind of makes you wonder.
Well, yeah, and it's not to say that it's impossible for someone to take Provestra and experience some benefits, even if there isn't a ton of scientific evidence to back it up.
Right.
The placebo effect is powerful.
It really is.
Sometimes just believing something will work can actually make a difference.
So you're saying our minds can play tricks on us?
Absolutely.
Wow, I think that's a whole other deep dive waiting to happen.
Definitely. But it just goes to show that we have to be careful, critical consumers, especially when it comes to our health. We can't take claims at face value, no matter how good they sound.
It's like they always say, if it sounds too good to be true.
It probably is. And when it comes to something as important as your health, we can't fall for those empty promises.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of too good to be true, the article makes some pretty bold claims about Provestra being safe, that there are no side effects because it's all natural.
Right.
But, as we've already talked about, even natural things can have their downsides.
Exactly. Just because something is natural doesn't mean it gets a free pass.
Right.
Even natural ingredients can interact with certain medications or have effects on some people that you wouldn't expect.
So even though they're saying Provestra is this gentle and natural solution, that doesn't mean that it's 100% risk-free.
Exactly. It's important to remember that. Some of those herbs in Provestra could interact with, say, blood thinners, for example. Or it could have effects on people who have hormone-sensitive conditions that we can't predict.
So what should people do?
Talk to your doctor.
Okay.
Seriously, having that open and honest conversation with your doctor before starting any new supplement is crucial.
Okay.
Especially if you're already taking other medication, they can help you understand the risks and the benefits based on your own health history.
Right, because what works for one person might not work for another. And we definitely don't want to trade one problem for another.
Exactly.
So talking to a healthcare professional isn't just a suggestion.
Yeah.
It's a must.
It is. It's about taking control of your own health. And that means being informed and making choices that are right for you, not just what some article or some bottle is telling you to do.
Love that.
Yeah.
I've learned so much, even just from this conversation. It just seems like there's all these supplements marketed as these quick and easy solutions, but when you dig deeper, it's always more complicated.
It really is. And it makes you think about this bigger picture,
Yeah.
like how we even talk about menopause as a society. It's almost
Yeah.
like it's still this secret.
Yeah.
And so women, they just don't have all the information to make good choices for themselves.
That's so true. I feel like it's this taboo topic that nobody really wants to talk about openly and honestly. And that's what we try to do here.
Exactly. Menopause is a natural part of life. It's time that we start treating it that way.
100%. So for our listeners who are maybe feeling a little lost or overwhelmed, what would you say? Where should they even start?
Oh, that's such a good question. Honestly, the first and most important thing is talk to your doctor.
Okay.
They're really going to be able to address your specific concerns,
Yeah.
talk about potential treatment options, help you navigate all of the hormonal changes.
Yeah.
And there is a ton of great information out there from really reliable sources.
Yeah. Where would you even send people?
The North American Menopause Society has a great website.
Okay.
The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists.
Perfect. We'll link those in the show notes for everybody listening.
And honestly, don't be afraid to talk to other women. You are not alone in this.
Yes.
Support groups online, even those forums, finding your people can make such a difference.
It really does. And maybe by having these conversations a little more openly and honestly,
Right.
we can help break the stigma around menopause.
I hope so.
Yeah. Empower women to really advocate for their own health.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we covered a lot today.
We did.
This has been really eye-opening, I'll be honest. If you want to check out the original article that sparked this whole conversation, you can find it on topnaturalhealth.com.
Yes.
They've even got a promo code running. Just remember everything we've talked about.
Do your research.
Talk to your doctor.
Be informed.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
This deep dive was all about giving you the information to make the best choices for your body. Until next time, everybody, stay curious and take care.